The grand arena of the Empire rose like a monument to arrogance. Its spiraling towers scraped the violet sky, each carved relief a testament to centuries of dominion. Thousands of alien spectators filled the stands, their shapes and voices an alien symphony of expectation, all there to witness the death of a human. From his place in the center of the arena, General Marcus Hale stood silent, shackled in blackened iron that glinted against the cold, artificial sunlight. His posture betrayed neither fear nor despair, only a still, unyielding defiance. Across the polished obsidian floor, Lord Vera Calistran surveyed the scene, his expression one of detached amusement. The supreme strategist of the Galactic Empire had orchestrated this moment to humiliate Earth. He had chosen the most grotesque method of execution, and he expected the humans to bow before it. "Your species persists only out of stubborn ignorance," Vera announced, his voice amplified across the arena. "Today, you will witness the futility of rebellion. You, human, will die as a warning to all your kind." Hale met the gaze of the alien noble with calm eyes. "You mistake me, Vera," he said. His voice carried across the arena and into the cameras that transmitted to Earth and every human colony. "I am not ignorant. I am the measure of your arrogance. You cannot crush what refuses to bend." A ripple of chatter went through the crowd, a mixture of disbelief and derision. Alien judges raised crystalline scepters, signaling the beginning of the trial, a ceremony devoid of justice, designed to entertain and intimidate. Hale's charges were read aloud. Treason against the eternal order. Incitement of rebellion. Contempt for the natural hierarchy. Every word was a deliberate insult, but Hale's composure never faltered. "You may speak, human," Vera said, his tone mocking civility. Hale took a breath. "I speak not for myself, but for every human who dares to stand, who refuses to kneel. You can end my life, but you cannot end what I represent. Earth will not bow." Cameras hovered closer, broadcasting his declaration across the galaxy. On distant colonies, humans paused mid-action, listening. There were no cheers, no applause, only a growing, silent determination that spread like wildfire through humanity's far-flung settlements. Hale had become more than a man, he had become a symbol. The executioner, a towering construct of black metal and shifting energy, advanced. Its movements were precise, predatory. Hale's eyes did not waver. He thought of Earth, of the cities that had raised him, of the children who would grow in the shadow of this moment. Fear was a luxury for those who had no cause. Hale had a cause. As the energy pike descended, Hale raised his voice one last time. "Remember this, you may kill a man, but you cannot kill the fire of Earth." The words, simple yet electric, carried across the arena, into the broadcast, and into the hearts of every human watching. Then the pike struck, and Hale fell, still staring at the cameras, his defiance undimmed by death. In the stands, the alien audience erupted into frenzied applause. They had expected fear, groveling, and despair. They had received the opposite. On Earth, however, the broadcast was met with an entirely different reaction. Families huddled in their homes, offices fell silent, and soldiers clenched fists over the screens. Hale's death ignited a flame that the Empire had not anticipated. Across the planet, President Elena Ward convened an emergency war council. The room was tense, the air thick with anger and grief. Military officers, scientists, and politicians crowded around the central table, each representing a fragment of humanity's global defense. "General Hale is dead," Ward began, her voice steady but heavy with emotion. "He was taken from us in an act meant to humiliate and subdue. But we are not defeated. He was not the last voice of humanity. His words were a call to action. And we will answer it." A murmur of agreement spread through the room, rising into a roar of resolve. General Liu, a veteran of Earth's interstellar expeditions, slammed a fist against the table. "The Empire expects us to tremble. They will find that their arrogance is our strength. We will strike back. We will show them what humanity means." Outside the council chambers, engineers worked feverishly to convert civilian ships into war-ready vessels. factories switched to continuous production of armaments. Every hand, every mind, every resource was directed toward one purpose: vengeance and survival. Hale's death had become both a catalyst and a compass. Humanity had no choice but to respond, and it would respond with all the ferocity it could muster. Meanwhile, in the imperial capital, Vera watched reports of the human response. He frowned, an unfamiliar tension threading through his composure. The humans were organizing, striking in small but effective ways. They were demonstrating creativity and resilience, qualities the Empire rarely encountered outside its most obedient subjects. He dismissed it aloud to his subordinates, but privately, doubt began to seep in. Back on Earth, the first memorials to Hale were erected, broadcast live across all networks. Citizens knelt, not in submission, but in solemn oath. Soldiers swore to carry the fire he had ignited into every battle. Hale's execution, intended as a display of dominance, had instead unified a species. His sacrifice crystallized a simple truth: fear could be weaponized, but courage was unstoppable. As night fell over Earth, and the twin moons cast pale light over the cities, humanity did not sleep. They prepared. They trained. They strategized. Every mind hummed with plans, every hand shaped tools of war. And somewhere, in the void of the galaxy, the Empire began to realize that killing one man had not ended a rebellion, it had begun one. By the time the stars rotated above, Hale's last words had traveled further than any fleet could reach. "Do not kneel!" And humanity would not. Earth awoke not to mourning, but to fury. The skies over New Beijing and Lunar Port factories glowed orange with furnaces blazing day and night, forging weapons, armor, and starship components. Across continents, shipyards ran on continuous cycles, launching vessels of all sizes toward orbit. Every citizen understood the unspoken decree: Hale had died, but his spirit demanded action. Humanity's response would be total. In the United Earth Defense Council chambers, President Elena Ward stood at the center of a circular table. Hollow screens displayed intercepted Imperial communications, troop movements, and intelligence from scouts in deep space. Generals, scientists, and diplomats leaned over the table, voices tense with urgency. "General Hale's execution was meant to break us," Ward said, her tone cold and precise. "But it has done the opposite. His words are now ours: do not kneel. Every human must contribute to the fight. Every hand, every mind, every resource belongs to victory." General Liu, a grizzled veteran who had served in the First Earth Martian skirmishes decades earlier, slammed a fist against the table. "We cannot wait for the Empire to come to us. They believe humans are weak. Let them learn otherwise. We strike first, and we strike hard." Ward nodded. "Agreed. The EDF will implement total war doctrine. Every industrial site, civilian ship, and research station will serve the war effort. We will use every tactic, conventional and unorthodox, to keep the Empire off balance." The Council erupted into strategy debates. Scientists argued for experimental railguns capable of splitting capital ships in two. Engineers proposed reconfiguring mining drones into autonomous attack swarms. Military planners cautioned that engaging the Empire directly would be suicidal without intelligence on their fleet dispositions. Ward mediated, weaving their ideas into a cohesive strategy: strike swiftly, sabotage supply lines, harry patrols, and exploit any weakness, however small. The first raids were meticulous. EDF frigates slipped through asteroid belts, cloaked against the Empire's sensors. Human pilots, trained in both space combat and planetary maneuvers, struck Imperial supply convoys with precision. Mines, disguised as space debris, detonated at calculated intervals, destroying fuel tanks and escort ships. It was chaos executed with human ingenuity. "We've lost 3 transport vessels," reported Commander Aisharin, eyes fixed on the holographic display of the battle corridor. "But we've taken out 2 carriers and a supply frigate. The enemy underestimates our tactics." Hale's voice, immortalized in recorded messages, echoed in the ship's intercom. "Do not kneel." Pilots repeated it quietly to themselves before each strike. It was a mantra, a talisman against fear. Back on the Imperial capital, Vera scowled as reports arrived. The humans were clever, unpredictable, and terrifyingly relentless. He had expected flailing resistance, not strategic audacity. "They fight with desperation," he said to his lieutenants. "But desperation alone cannot win. Prepare the fleet. Crush them before their arrogance spreads." His subordinates nodded, though a flicker of unease crossed one officer's face. The humans' early successes, though small, had psychological weight. Across the Empire, whispers began, "If humans can strike, maybe others can too." Meanwhile, humanity's secondary forces struck with equal ferocity. Guerrilla teams sabotaged orbital platforms, derailing supply chains. Scientists rigged ancient asteroid mining drones with autonomous targeting systems, converting them into kamikaze swarms. EMP pulses disabled communications on remote Imperial outposts, leaving garrisons isolated and vulnerable. Each success was minor tactically, but cumulatively, they inflicted chaos. In the EDF war rooms, officers monitored each skirmish with rapt attention. "They think they control space," Lou said, pointing at the holographic map. "But we've made it a labyrinth. Every asteroid field, every debris cluster is a trap. They will pay for every underestimate." In human colonies far from Earth, the morale shift was even more pronounced. Civilians volunteered for combat, engineers joined battle planning, and scholars contributed to code breaking and espionage. Hale's death became a rallying cry, a symbol transcending mortality. Each attack, each sabotage mission, was both revenge and affirmation. Humanity would not bend. By mid-cycle, the first significant victory arrived. EDF forces ambushed an Imperial patrol near the edge of the Orion sector. Using cloaked frigates and remotely controlled drones, humans destroyed a carrier group, leaving Imperial officers scrambling. Casualties were high for both sides, but the psychological impact resonated across the Empire. In the aftermath, Ward addressed the Council again, her face etched with exhaustion but illuminated by determination. "This is proof," she said. "We can fight. We can win. Our methods may be unorthodox, but they are ours. The Empire assumed we would crumble. They assumed wrong." Elsewhere, Vera studied the reports. His scowl deepened. The humans were more than stubborn. They were resilient, resourceful, and dangerous. "Send reinforcements," he commanded. "Increase patrols. Deploy faster ships. Do whatever it takes. Humanity cannot be allowed to inspire others." Yet, a seed of concern had been planted. The Empire had never encountered a species willing to use desperation as strategy, intelligence as weapon, and every weakness as leverage. For the first time in centuries, the supreme strategist faced an opponent he could not fully predict. On Earth, Hale's words were painted on banners, projected on city walls, repeated by every soldier before battle. "Do not kneel." It was no longer a slogan, it was a principle shaping tactics, morale, and humanity's vision of the war to come. As the cycle ended, humanity had paid its price. Frigates lost, lives sacrificed, resources depleted. But the effect was undeniable. The humans had taken the first steps in a campaign no one had dared to imagine. Imperial fleets were disoriented, communication lines fractured, and rumors of human audacity spread through the Empire. The EDF prepared for the next wave of action, each soldier aware that this was only the beginning. Humanity's total commitment to war had begun, and there was no turning back. Hale's death had ignited the furnace. Now, the fire consumed the entire species. Across the galaxy, Vera planned his retaliation, unaware that his moves only reinforced human ingenuity. Every attempt at suppression became an opportunity for counterattack, and every underestimate deepened the Empire's vulnerability. Humanity's resolve was no longer theoretical, it was operational, tested, and deadly. By the end of the cycle, Earth had transformed. Civilians were combat-ready, ships and weapons multiplied at unprecedented rates, and morale surged. Hale's legacy had crystallized. Humanity would fight with every resource, every tactic, every ounce of spirit. The galaxy would learn that humans, though young and underestimated, were not just another species. They were a storm rising from the ashes of execution, and nothing could stand in its path. The void of space trembled as humanity struck back. Earth's fleet, smaller but cunning, advanced through the Orion corridor, exploiting every asteroid field, gravitational anomaly, and debris cluster as a natural fortress. Long-range sensors pinged constantly, scanning for Imperial patrols, yet the humans had mastered the art of invisibility, not through cloaking, but through unpredictability. The Empire had expected chaos. They found discipline, ingenuity, and unrelenting will. President Elena Ward stood on the bridge of the flagship Defiance, her hands gripping the railing. The holographic map displayed the positions of EDF fleets and enemy outposts. "This is not a skirmish," she said, her voice steady, carrying both authority and inspiration. "This is the beginning of a campaign that will make the Empire question its arrogance. Every strike we make, every resource we expend, tells them one thing: humanity does not bow." Commander Aisha Rin, the tactical officer, pointed to clusters of Imperial ships attempting to regroup. "We've lured 2 squadrons into the debris fields. Their sensors are blinded, their formation fractured. We can hit them here and here," she said, tracing points of attack. "Do it," Ward ordered. "Timing and precision are everything. This is how we win despite the odds." EDF frigates darted through the debris like swarms of predatory insects. Human ingenuity turned natural hazards into weapons. Satellites detonated in precise sequences, triggering cascading collisions that shredded enemy hulls. Railgun volleys from hidden positions tore through Imperial capital ships, each strike a testament to strategy and human resolve. Amid the chaos, Hale's final message replayed across the fleet: "Do not kneel." Pilots whispered it under their breath before launching drone swarms, before firing torpedoes, before diving through gravity wells. The words were a talisman, a promise, and a demand. On Imperial lines, Lord Vera observed the unfolding disaster. The humans were not retreating. They were striking at calculated points, withdrawing just as another strike threatened to envelop them. Each attack inflicted not just physical damage, but psychological scars. Reports came in from multiple sectors: supply convoys destroyed, patrol squadrons annihilated, outposts abandoned. "They are organized, adaptive, relentless," Vera muttered. "This is no rebellion. This is war at a level I did not anticipate." His officers shifted uneasily. The humans' unpredictability gnawed at them. Every standard tactic met with countermeasures, every overwhelming fleet size neutralized by strategy. Meanwhile, EDF engineers and scientists monitored battlefield data in real time. Mining drones had been repurposed into self-guided swarms, EMP bursts disabled communications, and AI-driven assault crafts exploited sensor blind spots. Every tool, every vessel, every mine contributed to one purpose: break the Empire's grip and survive. In a pivotal engagement near the outer rim of the Sirius system, EDF forces executed a high-risk ambush. Frigates feigned retreat, drawing Imperial battle cruisers into a kill zone between 2 neutron stars. The gravitational forces amplified weapon ranges and trajectory precision. Railgun volleys ripped through enemy hulls, while autonomous drone swarms targeted escape pods and command modules. Imperial officers panicked as formations collapsed under the unexpected tactics. "Vera's flagship is within range," Ren reported, excitement tempered by tension. "If we hit now, we can force him to retreat." Ward's hand hovered over the launch console. "Wait for the perfect angle. We cannot risk the fleet on haste. One shot, one opportunity, let it be decisive." The volley launched, a symphony of destruction. Enemy shields flared and faltered. The flagship's command bridge erupted in sparks. Alarms blared. Vera roared through the comms. "You may have destroyed my fleet, humans, but you will not survive the Empire's wrath." Even as he barked orders, the retreat was inevitable. The humans had forced his first withdrawal in centuries. Across the galaxy, Imperial soldiers whispered among themselves, "If humans can strike, they are no ordinary species. They are unstoppable." Back on Earth, the celebration was tempered by loss. HFY had paid heavily for every victory. Thousands were dead, ships lost, resources drained. Yet the morale was unshakable. Humanity had fought on its terms and survived. Hale's legacy was tangible, etched into every hull, every banner, and every determined face. In the War Council chamber, Ward addressed the assembled officers. "We have struck them where they believed us weakest. They will regroup, yes. But we have demonstrated something crucial: the Empire can be challenged. Humanity can fight. And we will fight again. Every planet, every fleet, every mind will be devoted to victory. We have taken the first step toward securing our future." Soldiers and engineers alike understood the gravity of the moment. They had transformed grief into determination, execution into strategy, and defiance into action. Every person who had once believed submission inevitable now knew the truth: humanity did not kneel. Meanwhile, alien species long subjugated by the Empire began to whisper among themselves. If the humans could fight, perhaps the time for obedience was ending. Across distant colonies, secret meetings occurred, quietly inspired by the audacity of Earth's response. Humanity had not just survived, it had shown the galaxy that resistance was possible. As night fell over Earth, twin moons casting pale light over sprawling cities and orbital shipyards, the human population did not sleep. They prepared, they trained, they strategized. Every decision made, every tool created, every fleet launched carried Hale's words as a guiding force. "Do not kneel." And somewhere in the vast reaches of space, Vera contemplated his next move. The humans were no longer merely a nuisance, they were a reckoning. Every attempt to crush them had strengthened their resolve. Every underestimate had made them more dangerous. By the time he returned to the capital, he would have to accept a truth centuries in the making. Humanity was not just a species to dominate, it was a storm, unpredictable and ferocious, sweeping through the galaxy with fire in its heart. On Earth, Hale's portrait hung in every council chamber and barracks. Soldiers saluted it, civilians touched it with reverence, and every broadcast carried his final words into space: "Do not kneel." The galaxy had witnessed the first true roar of Earth. And it would not be the last. Word count 1003. Chapter highlights: Humanity launches its first full-scale offensive against the Empire. HFY demonstrates ingenuity, adaptability, and tactical brilliance. Vera experiences the first signs of doubt and retreat. Human losses are high, but morale and momentum surge. Hale's legacy continues to unify and inspire. Hints of broader galactic impact. Other species begin questioning the Empire.